Mr. Donapani here. We're gonna start a new module, and this module is gonna be about water all around the world. Let's start off by looking at some pictures of water, and you'll be able to get these pictures on your lesson by clicking on a document. And what you're gonna do is, as you look at these pictures, you're gonna think about things that you notice and things that you wonder. You're not gonna write them down anywhere. You're just gonna keep that all in your head as you look at these various different pictures of water. All right. And when we meet in a video call, that's when you're gonna be able to share with me what you noticed and what you wondered about these pictures. Now let's go over the classwork for today. So I'm going to give you an example of how to do some of these. Let's first start off by looking at the directions. First, we always want to read the quote, and it's okay if you don't understand it yet. I want you to think of a question you have based on what you read. It might be a question you're curious about, or a question about a word or phrase that you do not understand. I want you to underline words you don't know or can't figure out. It is okay if you underline a lot of words. It is good just to start noticing hard words. And I want you to circle words that help you figure out possible answers to those questions. Then I want you to write possible answers to your questions using complete sentences. So I'm going to go over one with you, and I'm going to model how to do this. So here's a quote. Imagine for a moment that all the water on earth came from just one well. This isn't as strange as it sounds. All water on earth is connected. So there really is just one source of water, one global well from which we draw our water. So this first time through, I just read it straight without stopping. Now, let's think of any words that we might not understand or can't figure out. So it wants us to underline words. So, let's say we don't know what the meaning of this word is. Well. All right, we just underline well. All right, imagine for a moment that all the water on earth came from just one well. This isn't as strange as it sounds. All water on earth is connected, so there really is just one source of water, one global well. Let's underline global well, from which we draw our water. Now, the word draw here is used a little differently from like how we usually see it, right? When we say we draw our water, do you think they're talking about drawing a picture of water? I don't think so. So now we've just underlined words or phrases that we don't understand. Now, the next thing we want to do is circle words that help you figure out possible answers to those questions. All right? So, a question, for example, could be I don't know what a well is, or I don't know what a global well is. Okay? Let's circle some clues that might help us or words that could be clues that help us understand those things. Imagine for a moment that all the water on earth came from just one well. So let's circle, actually, let's circle this phrase, all the water, right? That might be a clue for what the word well means. We can make an inference that a well is a place where people get water from, all right? And we could also infer that it's large amounts of water that can be found in a well. Now, let's look at the next thing we underline: global well. The word global kind of sounds like global. The word global kind of sounds like the word globe. And when we think of the word globe, we're talking about the entire world, right? And it also, we see the word earth over there in the same sentence, right? So we're going to circle the word earth because that gives us a clue to what global might mean. All right. So now I'm going to write my question here. We can say, what is a well? We can also write, what is a global well? Another question I might have is, what does it mean to draw water? Right? Now, given that we just circled some clues in here, we might be able to answer these questions. So the answers to your questions don't have to be fully accurate, but I want you to try to answer your own questions using those clues. So by the phrases that we just circled, we just came up with some clues. So we can say, a well might be a place where people get a lot of water from. Right? Well, instead of a lot, let's say a large amount of water. Right? That's one possible answer to one of the questions. And let's say, what is a global well? Our answer to that question might be, a global well is a well where people from all over the world get their water. And then lastly, our last question, what does it mean to draw water? All right, so now that we know what a well is, we can make an inference and say that when we say from which we draw our water, we can simply make that inference by saying that that's where we get our water from. To draw our water means to get our water from somewhere. All right, so this is an example of how we just read a quote. We thought of a question based on what we read. It could be a question on something that you don't understand or something that you are curious about or that you want to know more about. We underline words that we don't know, all right? Any words that you don't know, you underline. And then you circle words that help you figure out possible answers to those questions you had. And those questions could be about words you don't know, phrases you don't understand, or something you're curious about. All right? So this was one example right here. Now, let's skip this one. And we're going to go straight to this one right here. Okay? Now, for this one, I'm going to read it aloud to you. And you are going to come up with questions on your own. And then you are going to answer this question, which is going to be your exit ticket. The questions you have are going to be your classwork. The exit ticket is going to be to answer this question, which is, where is water on Earth? Use evidence from the text to support your thinking. So I'm going to go over this with you, and I want you to pay close attention, and you'll be able to figure out how to answer that question. The quote says, not all of our water is on the surface of the earth. Some of it is underground. Water will find its way into the tiniest of cracks in rocks. So it already says some of the places where water is, right? Let's highlight some things. We know that it's underground, right? Water will find its way into the tiniest of cracks and rocks. The soil soaks up water like a sponge. Our soil holds a lot of the water on Earth. So it's also found in soil. Sometimes that water is deep in the ground in aquifers. Let's highlight that. And what is an aquifer? An aquifer is sort of like an underground lake. All right, so let's underline the word aquifer. Let's underline this whole phrase, actually. Here we go. That defines the word, right? An aquifer is sort of like an underground lake. The water is stored in between layers of rock, deep in the ground. Let's highlight that. People drill holes through the rock to access the water underground. This is an important source of drinking water for people in the world. So, if we look at what we highlighted, let's go over it again. It'll help us answer this question. Where is water on Earth? We know that a lot of the water is underground. We see it right there, right? Water finds its way into the tiniest of cracks in rocks, right? Water is also found in our soil, right? A lot of our soil holds the water on Earth, right? We also know that water is found in aquifers, which is like an underground lake, right? The water is stored in between layers of rock deep in the ground, right? So, in short, this quote pretty much talks mostly about how water can be found underground, all right? So, if you were to answer your question, you could say water can be found underground, but then make sure you use evidence from the text to support your thinking. All right, and this is your exit ticket. Your classwork is simply to come up with any questions you have about this quote. All right, and that is all for today.